So, we're glad to get those guys here on campus and get them a part of the culture and what we're trying to do.
We got a couple coaches here with us today that we're going to introduce. You want to go ahead and get started with some of them?
Sure. Who do you want to bring in first?
Should we, let's do volleyball first.
Volleyball. Coach Elliot, come on by.
Right up. I'm going to kind of slide to the side, but we very much wanted to at least give you guys the opportunity to introduce yourself to the community. I think some people will be familiar with at least the last name, I think, a little bit.
Right.
But
this is the better coach of the family.
We got the good one. We got the good one.
We got the best coach of the family. Yeah.
So give them the rundown a little bit, though. Give them a little bit of your experience and kind of how you're connected to the local volleyball scene and what people might come to know you by.
Sure. So volleyball has been in my blood since I've been in middle school. And so I went on to play in high school, went on to play in college at Florida State. And as they mentioned earlier, my husband coaches.
I didn't know that. You should have told me that.
Oh, the perks of the job.
Okay. Well, now I'm a Bengal.
Keep going.
But my husband coaches, he's the assistant for the Sand Beach team at Florida State. And so we met through playing volleyball, beach volleyball, and it's yet to be determined who's the better coach. So I'm excited to be here.
We'll see how it goes,
excited to start the program, and I'm excited to work with Scott and everybody, all the other coaches.
There's a lot of good volleyball in this area, whether you're talking about Wando, we're talking about Bishop England, a lot of the private schools. Where does sort of Beckham fit in all of that? I mean, there's so much good club volleyball in this area. Like, how do you sort of find your niche in this local volleyball market?
Well, as Scott mentioned, I mean, we had 80 girls interested in
really
playing volleyball, and that number is just freshmen and sophomores.
Wow.
So
Crazy.
I think that the community of volleyball, it's one of the fastest growing sports in all of the country, and the Olympics and the NCAA. So I think the community of volleyball is just too big for one high school. So I'm excited to start a new program in this high school.
What sort of attracted you to the school? Why apply here? What made you want to sort of jump in with something so new, like so much unknown, with the program you don't really know? I don't know.
Well, I wasn't sure, and so I set up a meeting with Anna, and I just fell in love. I mean, everything that she talked about, the philosophy, for the unity of the program, for all the coaches that they were talking about bringing in, it just seemed like the right timing and the right fit for me. And as Scott mentioned, we never actually met and did a lot of phone conversations. It was difficult, but for him to make a blind hire, I just feel like the stars aligned and it was meant to be.
That's a really good point. Being able to hire somebody like her without sitting down and meeting her. I know you're sort of a personal guy. You want to get in front of people. What was it about her that made you say, I've seen enough, or I've heard enough, I guess, maybe seen enough on Zoom or something like that. But what made you kind of know that this was the hire for us?
Yeah, well, I mean, the cool thing is, I mean, all her life, she's been volleyball since she was young, and playing for 4 years on scholarship at Florida State would definitely pique my interest. My wife happened to go to Florida State too. And if we got Gator fans out there, one of her greatest moments was beating the Gators. The Gators are ranked 8th in the nation.
Number 8 in the nation.
And Coach Elliot helped them beat the Gators one year. So, I knew she had a ton of volleyball background, but then as I listened to her talk about putting the students first, and it's about the student athletes. I mean, as much as we've got some great coaches, and I want to brag about them. At the end of the day, the next time you come over here, you'll be interviewing one of the athletes.
Yeah.
And I can really sense that from her, that she's a super caring coach, and she loves the community, and she was all in no matter what. I mean, that was a great thing. She was like, hey, if I got to take the scorebook, I'll do the scorebook over on the side. Which told me it wasn't about her. She really wanted to give back, and we're excited about bringing her, and she's got a ton of volleyball connections, and bringing her staff over here too.
Absolutely. So we talked about some of the volleyball talent in this area, and there's some cool tournaments, there's some cool matches to be had, Wando Invitational, Portugal, stuff like that. I mean, should we expect? I know that there's a lot to work out as far as scheduling and stuff, especially with everything going on right now. But should we expect to see Beckham in some of these with some of these other schools that are some of the more established schools in these tournaments that we see around town and stuff like that?
I definitely think so down the road. I mean, maybe not this first year, but I think down the road we absolutely will be right there.
And what is that like for you fielding a team when you said you had 80 girls, but you're getting mostly freshmen and sophomore, right?
Yes.
So you're going to be fielding a varsity that's going to be mostly sophomore, maybe a couple freshmen. How do you kind of plan to sort of figure that out? And it gives you an opportunity to grow with these girls, I guess.
I'm super excited about it. Like Scott said, it is about the student athlete for me. So I feel like a more well-rounded student athlete is what I'm looking for. So athletes in any school are going to be mentors, they're going to be leaders, and I'm really looking forward to kind of developing the individual to their highest potential. And starting with freshmen and sophomores gives me the opportunity to teach them from the get-go, to teach them the technique that I'm looking for, and to teach them to be successful for all 4 years.
Very
So I'm
cool.
excited about it.
That's all I got, man. You got anything else?
No.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you hanging out with us
Nice to meet
today. Y'all will be
everyone.
seeing plenty more of her. Hopefully, right off in the fall. We'll see how everything
Yes.
goes.
Yeah,
but
let's hope.
yep,
All right.
appreciate it
Take
as
care.
always. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, who should we bring in next, man? What do you think?
I think let's bring in Coach Smith. I know we've
I
talked
love
about
it.
some
I
football.
love it. Another guy that the area will probably
Yeah.
recognize, Jamel Smith, the football
What's going on,
coach. Spent 8 years as assistant over at Wando. He's taken over the head job at Lucy Beckham right now. Jamel, so we were talking about the idea of football. We'll be playing 2 years at JV, and she talked about it a little bit a second ago. The opportunity to have these younger kids and be able to sort of bring them up in a new culture, a new system that you're trying to build over here. Just what is that sort of advantage when you get these kids so early on, and in 2 or 3 years when you are playing varsity, they've already been in the system by then?
Yeah, starting them out up in the weight room, getting them onto the field, just being able to meet, the coaches that we have and us building a nice relationship with those kids, getting them stronger, faster, and getting those kids to buy into what we're trying to do here at Lucy Beckham. And, it's definitely preaching discipline, it's preaching work ethic, and it's preaching being respectful to your teammates and being respectful to others, but just giving all you got. And, I think in 2 years, it's really, a good deal for us to have 2 years because we get to grow the program. We get to get these guys stronger and faster. And I think in 2 years we'll be ready for that tough region that we have.
Yeah, man. So I was saying a second ago, you were over at Wanda for 8 years. You've been in this community. You know the football in this area. Just how much is that an advantage for you when you're trying to build a new program? Just having already been in this community, you're going to know a lot of these kids. You're going to see their younger brothers and the parents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People will probably recognize you from the sidelines, getting after that defense a little bit.
yeah.
Just what kind of advantage, what kind of head start does that give you in a community when you're trying to build a football program, having already been in it so much?
I think this is a great community. I think the community of Mount Pleasant is a great community. The parents are very supportive. We have good, hard-working kids, in that Mount Pleasant area. So I think they will transfer over to Lucy Beckham. They'll bring that same attitude. They'll bring that same work ethic. We'll have the same type of support. And we're just going to carry on, and we're just going to try to take it to another level. So that's what we look forward to.
How do you sort of build a winner in this area? Because for so long, football has been sort of inconsistent. It's been up and down. There's been some good teams, but how do you sort of bring that consistency? It seems like in this community, there's become a little bit stronger emphasis on football and from the younger ages, and sort of building winners around this area.
Yeah.
So for you got this new program. You're able to sort of get your hands on these kids early. Just how do you sort of turn this into a winner? And what is sort of the scene, the football scene in this community right now?
It's just taking care of the little details. Just like we said, getting them into the weight room, getting them out, running, getting bigger, faster, stronger. That's the teams that we play. You look at the May Rivers, and you look at the Blufftons, and you look at the Hilton Heads and the Bufords. Those guys, they're big, they're fast, and we want to compete with them.
Yeah.
And with what we have in Mount Pleasant, and as everybody knows, the numbers are growing.
Yeah.
People are constantly moving into this community each and every year, So I think what we got, we have a great base, and if we could just add on to it, and the excitement about football, because we have a lot of sports in this area. We have a lot of sports in this area. We have a lot of good sports in this area. So I think from our standpoint, as a football team, it's getting the kids excited to come out and to be a part of something special. I know people love football, and we have to get those kids very excited to come out. We have the kids here in the community that can do that. And if we attract them and we can get them out, I think Lucy Beckham, the football is going to be, an athletic program is going to be something special.